Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we've got the tech and infotainment breakdown on the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. In this video we're going to take a look at the 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster here in front of us, the 14-inch large center touchscreen, show you how to pair up a phone, use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and demo the voice controls. Now first things first, if you got yourself a new Toyota Tacoma, maybe you're driving it for the first time, maybe you're renting it, something like that, I highly recommend you spend a little time, play around with everything while you're stopped and static. Maybe in your driveway, maybe at the dealer, probably not at the dealer actually. I would say get yourself somewhere comfortable, a nice parking lot like this or something, and there's so much going on in this vehicle between all the physical controls, the different screens. You'll enjoy your vehicle more if you spend some time learning about it. Also, I want to point out that we've got a lot of other videos on the truck. This is the Tacoma TRD Pro. We've got a full driver view, fuel economy test, a test on the 10-speaker JBL audio system. All of that can be found below. So let's dive right on in here. Looking up in front of us, we see a steering wheel with a whole lot of buttons. We'll go through those in a moment. We also see controls over here on the left side. We have adjustment for headlight height. What is this one giving us? Brightness for the gauge cluster. Okay, I like having a physical control there. Interesting that we have a blank switch. Maybe the Trail Hunter would have something there. We've got opening the fuel door, automatic headlights, traction control, the 120 volt outlet in the back. We've got the ability to open the tailgate from right there. 3 auxiliary switches that can be custom programmed. The TRD light bar lighting up in front of us, and the ability to turn on or off the functionality where when you open the doors, the light in the tailgate area comes on. Then looking up here in front of us, we see this 12.3-inch display. And unfortunately, this is the highest that the steering wheel goes in this model, so I'm not able to get it. So I hope the camera is seeing it okay. But we see, even though the screen is entirely digital, we see a little bit of an analog gauge layout there to give us a little bit more of a traditional look. So way over on the left, we've got our tachometer with some information in the middle. We'll go through those in a moment. Up top, we've got the outside temperature clock over on the right. Moving down from there, we see digital speed, the gear selected, some cruise control and safety information, more information below that. Bottom left, we see engine coolant, an odometer, a little ready indicator telling us that our hybrid system is on. We could drive even though the engine's not running. Over on the left bottom, we see distance to empty as well as a fuel gauge, the analog speedometer, and then some information within that as well. Now you control that screen with some controls here on the steering wheel. So starting in the top left of the steering wheel, you have a back button, you have a phone button for quickly making phone calls or answering phone calls. You have a 4-way toggle switch area for moving around the screen, volume, voice control, which you can press once to get the Toyota voice control or press and hold and get your phones, either Siri or Google. Over on the right, you've got cruise control enable, you've got active lane keeping, and the ability to change between adaptive cruise control, standard cruise control, change your following distance, up, down, speed, cancel cruise control. Mode's going to change the type of music input mode you're listening to, and then this is to change tracks. All right, so if we, right now looking at the screen, you've got these 3 customizable information areas. Now, the way Toyota has this set up with their newer vehicles is you essentially have 3 different screens that you set. If you press either right or left on the steering wheel, then you're over to screen 2, and then you're over again to screen 3, and you can see information's changing within the gauges. Now on any of those, if I hold the OK button, then I'm into a mode where I can change what's in each screen. So if I press up and down now, I'm adjusting between settings, messages, blank, or driving support in the center. I can press over to the left and get traction monitor, trailer brake, auxiliary gauges, turbo gauge, blank, navigation, audio. And then if I go over to the right screen, I've got electric boost gauge, blank, fuel economy, driving support, navigation, audio, drive info, trip A, trip B, tire pressure, pitch and roll, trailer mode, blind spot monitoring, engine transmission oil temperature, and back to our electric boost gauge. I don't love how this is laid out, mostly because of the functionality. I don't like how you can't put the same things on the left screen that you can on the right screen. For example, I would like to have both my this screen right here, the electric boost gauge up, but also see my fuel economy. But I can't put either of those gauges over on the left side. Not only that, the center screen is very limited. You pretty much only have the ability to have it blank or have this sort of driver safety monitor system up. I don't understand why Toyota limited the functionality there and what you can have on each screen, because it makes it so I'm having to press over here, okay, see my trip average for fuel economy, and then go back over here to see my boost gauge. Also, and we're going to see this when we look at the center screen as well, why didn't they give us some sort of information to see how much energy we're regenning or using with the hybrid system? That's something that we've had since the second generation Prius. I don't understand why it's gone from here. Making our way over to the center screen. Now this TRD Pro Tacoma gets the 14-inch screen option as standard. Some of these lower trim Tacomas are going to have a little bit smaller screen, but they're all going to work pretty darn similarly. This is a standard setup for Toyota. We're going to see a lot of familiar things here to other Toyota vehicles, but I really appreciate that in the Tacoma they still kept all these physical controls for volume and for climate and for our functionality down here, our drive modes, etc. What you're going to see here is essentially this being what is closest to a home screen, so your navigation, and then over on the left you get this persistent menu giving you your phone projection, navigation, media, phone, vehicle settings, and general settings, and then over on the top right a clock, as well as some information about your connected device and signal. Let's take a look at the navigation here. It's loosely based on Google Maps. You can either use these plus and minus buttons to zoom or pinch and zoom. Nice resolution. Decent enough refresh rate, but good responsiveness as we're moving around. So you can see if I bring it north up here and I wanted to use it like a normal map, I could say, okay, what's over here in Tustin? I could quickly zoom in, look for a certain thing. Okay, there's Cabrillo Park Drive, East Fruit Street, and okay, there's Cabrillo Park. I could click right here and say, maybe hold click. No, I actually can't. Oh, there we go. It's just taking its time. Yeah, Fitness Court, Cabrillo Park. Get directions. If you plan on using the built-in navigation regularly, I highly recommend you play around with it and get comfortable, but we'll show you how to do a little bit more with voice control later on. Then making our way down on the left side here, we've got our media screen. Again, very big, easy to use and see controls that they used for the Toyota Infotainment. I like that. So if we hit enable audio, then we've got our Sirius XM coming there. You can see our favorite channels, or we could tune directly to something. I guess this is going to be for FM, but we have FM, AM, Sirius XM. Do 89.3, and then you get your HD radio for your NPR coming up, or you could switch right back with your favorites to Sirius XM. Let's go back to here. Let's see our phone. Now right now we've got Android Auto connected, so we're not going to see any phone information, but if you weren't using phone projection, you'd have the ability to make calls and see messages and your favorite contacts right from there. Moving on down further, we have the vehicle screen. Now this is, again, another disappointment for me with Toyota's newer systems. For a long time, Toyota gave you a lot of information about your car and the hybrid system. You could really nerd out if you wanted to on how those systems work, and instead, now we just get trip information and vehicle alert, and it's very rudimentary. If we view trip information, it's telling us our average fuel economy for the last 15 miles, and then our trip range and duration. We can clear that, and then again, we see history over here. I think that's supposed to be day-to-day, but it looks pretty cleared out at this point. And if we go back, we see anything for vehicle alerts. It looks like on the 16th we had a malfunction in the tire pressure warning system. But other than that, that's all we're getting here in this vehicle screen. Moving down into settings, and we're not going to get into every single detailed setting here, but try to hit the main ones, and then again, dig in deeper if it's something that you think would be relevant to you. First things first, we see this profile screen, and this is really nice that Toyota's doing between the Toyota and Lexus products. You can set up a profile for anyone who's going to be driving the vehicle, and then when he or she gets in, you get in, click your profile, and then things like your media and your climate settings are all going to adapt to you. So this is nice if you have multiple people driving the same vehicle, but it's also nice if you drive multiple Toyota vehicles. So say you have a truck and then something like an IS350, you can get in and your settings will be remembered across the vehicles. Moving down to personal info, pretty straightforward. You have your Bluetooth devices and keys and different driver information. Bluetooth and devices, when we connect our iPhone later, we'll use this screen, but you can see which devices are connected. In fact, right now, let's remove Nicholas's iPhone because I don't even know who that is. All right. Coming back, we see the general settings. Under accessibility, this is important. You can turn the screen beep on and off. So now, hear that awful beep sound. Take that off right away. I like having a higher sensitivity as well on the screen sensitivity. It's nice they give you customization for that. Under date and time, you probably just want to have set date and time by GPS on, but if for some reason you wanted to augment your clock, you could do that there. You can also choose a 24-hour time format. Under keyboard, you get nothing. Language and units, we have English, Spanish, and French, and the measurements for either kilometers or miles or location if you'd like, or you can choose them manually down there. Under notifications, you can choose which type of notifications you'd like to get as you're driving along. If you find the vehicle's chirping at you a little bit too much while you're navigating or driving, you can adjust those. Under Wi-Fi, we have two functionalities in here. One is your Wi-Fi hotspot, and that is the vehicle's ability to, if you pay monthly, produce a Wi-Fi signal and provide internet to devices within the car, say children's tablets or maybe a work laptop, etc. Or you can use the Wi-Fi screen, and this is how you'd actually connect to something like your home's Wi-Fi in order to receive over-the-air updates for your system. Under display, we have the ability to adjust the brightness of the display, and in this one I've actually remembered to turn the brightness all the way up before starting, but you can see if you want it easier on your eyes, you can move it down, and also adjust the contrast of the screen, and you can turn the display off right there. So if you want to just drive around maybe at night or something, have it off, easy to do, and you touch it twice to turn it back on. And you can change between a nighttime and a daytime mode. So on automatic, it goes into this mode at night automatically. But I actually think when I leave here, I'm probably going to turn it on to dark mode permanently. A little easier on your eyes. Under sound and media, this is how you're going to not only change your sound, treble, mid-range, and bass, but also the ringtone volumes for your phone and maybe system volumes. Under navigation, again, if you're going to use your vehicle's built-in navigation regularly, I recommend you play around with these settings and see what's useful to you. Under voice and search, we can utilize the wake word. So if I turn this off, then I say, "Hey Toyota," and nothing happens, but you'll see in a minute with it on, then it'll actually start the voice control. Under vehicle customize, this gives you the ability to customize some functionality, such as for the lights, how long do you want them to stay on after you get out of the vehicle, unlock it, do you want your daytime running lamps on? Under door control, this is something I like. Where is it? Right here, smart access doors. So when you come in and touch the driver door handle, do you want just the driver door to unlock or all of them? I like all, so that if I walk up with a backpack on, I can touch the driver door, but then go straight to the rear and put my backpack in the back of the car. Nothing too useful under climate or utility. Coming down to dealer info, you can see the information for your dealer that you purchased the truck. Info and security, you can change the name of your vehicle. This is also going to be where you reset the vehicle if you're going to sell it afterward. You want to clear all your information out of there. Software update, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, you can see if there's any updates for your system. And that is about it for your settings. Now let's take a look at voice commands. So I'm going to bring it back to the nav here, and I'm going to press this button first. Navigate to the nearest Starbucks.
The closest Starbucks is Starbucks at 2790 Lake Forest Drive. Would you like to go now?
Yes.
Calculating route to Starbucks.
There we go, nice and straightforward. You can see the navigation is now running. But then I can also do this. Hey Toyota. Cancel navigation.
Canceling trip.
Look at that. You can also do other things like, hey Toyota. Hey Toyota. Set the temperature to 62 degrees.
Setting the driver's temperature to 62 degrees.
Look at that. Pretty nifty. You can see now. Set at 62. 62. Hey Toyota. What's the weather like tomorrow?
Here is the weather for Lake Forest, California on Thursday, April 25th. A couple of morning showers, otherwise, low clouds breaking for some sun and cool.
See? Very nice. It's a much more useful system than a lot of the other cars we've tested recently. Now let's take a look at Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. We're going to do Android Auto first, and you can connect both wired and wirelessly with this car. However, if you want to connect via wire, it's going to have to run from way up there on the side of the screen and stick out and drape down. You can't use these plugs because those are for power only. So we're connected wirelessly right now with our Android. We go up here, and you can see it takes up the entire screen, which has its pros and minuses. Pro, it looks quite good. A lot to see on this 14-inch screen. However, to get back to the Toyota screen, you have to click one, and then wait, and then click Toyota right there. Pretty easy from there, but if you're already buried in an application within Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, it takes a few clicks, whereas a lot of competitors, you can simply press something like a home button. But once we're in here, we've got our Android Auto. You can see the split screen layout looking good. You can move Google Maps around, pinch and zoom. Nice refresh to the system. This is one of my favorite screens on the market right now. It's working really well. If we bring up Google Maps to full screen, you can see what you got there. And you've got things like your YouTube music. Let's hit the Super Mix, see what our now playing screen is looking like. Some corn playing today, all right? So we've got that playing. If we go to the home, then you can see it switches back and forth, and we've got our dual screen setup. All right, let's go home. Let's disconnect our Android device and pair up an iPhone. Go there. Going to go to Settings, Bluetooth and Devices, and disconnect. Like I said, you can pair your device by simply connecting a cable, but we're going to do this wirelessly. So on my iPhone, I'm going to the Settings and Bluetooth screen, and then on the car, I'm going to go down or up to Manage Devices and then add another device. Search for devices, and I see Charlie's iPhone should be coming up any moment. There we are. Choose that. On my phone, I see a prompt coming up here any moment. Oh, the system is taking its sweet time, isn't it? There we go. Pair. I'm going to press OK on the vehicle screen. Allow contacts and favorites sync. And then when the phone prompts me to allow Apple CarPlay, I'm going to do so. Enable on the car, yes. Use CarPlay on the phone. And there we have it, CarPlay coming up. And this is interesting. I don't remember this from previous Toyota devices, but we still have the Toyota, what do you want to call that, multi-function screen on the left. That doesn't look fantastic, but it does add a degree of functionality. However, it does also shrink our Apple CarPlay screen. So we see about a 50-50 setup between our media and our navigation. If we click this, we get full screen Google Maps moving around, but you cannot pinch to zoom with Apple, so you have to zoom in that way. Done. Go back home. You can see your app screen here. Because of the large screen, we get 10 different apps all fit on there at once. Looking good. Nice refresh. Let's go into YouTube Music. Let's hit the Super Mix, see what we're getting on the iPhone. Some Epica. All right. And then if we go back to home, now you can see Google Maps and your media over there on the right. And with this screen now, we can just hit that, and we're back to the Toyota built-in screen. So there it is, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, the 14-inch infotainment screen here in the Toyota Tacoma. What do you all think? Is there anything I missed that you want answered? Let me know in the comments. I'll try to get to you. Overall, I do like the system. Like I said, it's got a few weaknesses that surprise me and could be easily improved and fixed in over-the-air updates, but the general layout I'm a fan of. So be sure to check the other videos if you want to see more on the Tacoma, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.